A lot of big upsets last card. I
There
mean,
were.
we hit a couple here. We had Rafael Assunção at about plus 200, and Belfort and Nate Marquardt over 1.5 rounds, which is an easy winner at around plus 180. But when you think of all the big upsets, Alcantara getting beat at a 3-1 favorite, the total in that women's fight at minus 300 to go over ends in the first round. And there were some big upsets.
That's what killed me, that fight going over.
Yeah, killed both of us. We were both.
And Yuri Alcantara getting submitted for the first time in his career.
Yeah.
Without even trying to get out of it.
Not much
defense.
resistance.
Yeah.
So. But this week, UFC Fight Night 110, homecoming for Mr. Mark Hunt. Pretty much. It's in New Zealand. That's where he's from. And do you think this might be the farewell fight for him?
Yeah, I do. Look, I mean, sometimes what we talk about in sports is the value associated with a team or a player's name. And we see it a lot with, anytime the Cavs play anyone but the Warriors because they have LeBron, or the Warriors because they have Curry and Durant. You see it in football with the Packers because of Aaron Rodgers, or the Patriots with Tom Brady, where you pay a premium betting on them because of the name factor. Mark Hunt has built and established himself a name in MMA because he knocks people out, and he's always had a granite chin. But I don't think at 43 years old we can call that chin granite anymore, if we even call it a good chin, as his last 4 losses, all by knockout, that good chin starting to fade him. And look, at a 5'10", 265 pounds, he was never fleet-footed. He never had a ground game. And if that chin's starting to fail him, I don't know how long he's going to be, how much he has left. And at 43, not many people are still fighting.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a good point.
Not many people have much left at 43.
TRT.
And doesn't this feel like a spot for the UFC, whose heavyweight division isn't exactly loaded with talent under 35, to take a red-hot prospect, ranked number 5 or 6 in the division, Derek Lewis, 6 straight wins, all by knockout, and get him a win over a big name so that they can get him a big fight?
Yes, definitely. But Derek Lewis can and just might be knocked out. Let's not forget. Matt Mitrione put him to sleep with 1 punch. And also, he was knocked out by Sean Jordan. So if Mark Hunt lands one of those uppercuts like he landed on Roy Nelson, it's going to be lights out Derek Lewis.
I absolutely agree that Derek Lewis can be knocked out in this fight. I think the fight, obviously, there's going to be big punches landed because neither one of these guys has a ground game, so who's going to try to initiate a takedown here? It doesn't seem like either guy would. I don't even know if either one knows how to attempt a takedown. Never mind actually complete one and do anything.
Nothing like a boxing match with 4-ounce gloves on, right?
I mean, I think the one thing you have to like is that Derek Lewis has shown great endurance, cardio, and durability in his last fights. He was in real trouble in the first round against Travis Brown after that liver kick. Made it through it fine, knocked him out in the second round, was in real trouble against Roy Nelson. He was the one with the gas tank full of gas late where Roy Nelson gassed, and he came back and won that decision against Roy. I mean, he looks like a fighter who's matured and has showed a little bit more than, hey, I can just go in and win, whip bombs out there. And look, you don't win 6 fights in a row in the UFC by accident.
See, this fight's pretty much a pick-em, and you like Derek Lewis in this fight.
I do, and although the odds are starting to creep against us here, the sheet we have in front of us that I printed this morning says minus 125. And when I left the office, it was already up to minus 135. A lot of people, I think, like Lewis in this fight, and it's hard not to like Lewis. Hunt looked really bad in the knockout loss to Overeem, and he looked really bad in the drubbing he took from Brock Lesnar. I mean, really, Mark Hunt hasn't looked good in a long time. You look at his last 8 or 9 fights, and his only wins are against Frank Mir, no longer in the UFC anymore, never had a chin. I love Frank Mir, Southern Nevada Sports Hall of Fame. And Bigfoot Silva, who's not in the UFC anymore and got knocked out like 7 straight times before Dana finally said, whoa.
Isn't it amazing how Bigfoot Silva fought Mark Hunt to a draw, and then next fight with him he gets knocked out. But just... isn't it amazing how much better the juice makes your chin?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about that all the time, about these. You've seen it last week in Brazil. all the Brazilians looked a little bit flat except for the one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and so I don't think he was tested.
What was his name again?
Borrachina.
Borrachina, yeah.
He just looked like a local guy that they use.
And wow,
who cares if they test him?
I had picked Eric Silva, and I hadn't seen him fight in a few years, and his body looked completely different.
Yeah, it sure did.
You see the difference
Just
when these
deflated.
guys aren't on the sauce.
Did not look like
and he
the
was
same
still
person.
winning that fight.
And he got knocked out.
I had him winning that first round and thought coming out of the second he looked good, and then of course he ate that combination, and I still thought it was an early stoppage though.
But he usually the old Eric Silva could take those punches all day.
Yeah.
He didn't take them Saturday.
He's been in that testing pool for a while.
And then the other fight. I mean, it was the most boring fight we've seen.
Nate Marquardt?
Nate Marquardt.
Versus Vitor. Two guys who really didn't go after.
They just looked at each other half the round and just tried to do just enough
Sparring
at the end of the
match.
fight just to...
Not to get booed.
Yeah.
The main event, though, may have been the best main event we've seen in 2017 because it was so anticipated. The guys were so even. Aldo came out fireworks early.
I had him winning the first 2 rounds.
So did I. And then, of course,
and then he
Holloway
slowed down this much.
Yep. And what did we say? He had to slow down Holloway. And I said with leg kicks, interestingly enough, he never threw one crack. Yeah,
no leg kick. 0.
He threw that one leg kick and he blocked it. And I didn't want to
throw
it
at
anymore.
most one.
Yeah,
that's a huge weapon for him.
And,
and I was thinking that while I was watching it, where's the leg kicks?
Yeah.
Where's the leg? Like if I had low kicks like that, I'd be throwing them like crazy. Yeah, maybe he was injured because that didn't make any sense. But I knew if Holloway weathered the storm and could just get Aldo to slow down a little bit, the fight would be his.
Or he was thinking, if I throw these hard leg kicks, it's going to make me tired.
I don't know. They don't take a lot of
because
energy.
He looked like he ran out of gas.
He just slowed down a little bit,
Yeah.
But Holloway kept that pressure on.
Yeah.
That's one of his big weapons.
3-shot combo he landed to drop him to start the end was awesome.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he had him in trouble, and he made him work.
Yeah.
He kept changing from position to position to make him work even harder.
Yeah, kept that pressure on.